Cool, I think that's good. Hey, hello, welcome back to the lab. Today we're just going to be going over a really quick tutorial on trying to get rings into Shapeways or any other 3D printer. Really, one of the things that came up in a lot of our classes, we just did our Intro to Digital Art class. We had some of the parts free online, but one of the parts that we didn't fully post, we went over some examples and made some rings and other jewelry in ZBrush. But one of the problems that came up was people just didn't know how to size them to export them. So we got a lot of questions on that. I just wanted to make a really quick video because I haven't really seen much on it. But one of the things in ZBrush is everything is very artistically designed, very art centric. And one of the big things that kind of comes of that is there is no set scale. If you were to create an object, it's really the same object if you're making it 3 inches tall or if you're making it 30 feet tall. The problem with that, though, is when you're trying to actually export it, it makes it hard to gauge things. And one of the things with ring design, as opposed to some of the other jewelry like trinkets, is you have to size from the inside. And it was something that, kind of came out as a challenge. So I just want to give my process for that quickly. First thing I'm going to do is just go up here and I'm going to update this grid size. Part of it is I just need to have a little more room to work with. The other thing is I want to have a little more fidelity. So this is going to be a little larger, but as you see, I have a lot more grid space. So my settings, just turn on draw grid. I have it set to grid size, grid size 100, tile size 50, but just something fairly workable. And then from here, right now I still have my symmetry set. Let's change this. But really, right now, the big focus is just trying to get that general scale. The next step is what size do you want it to be? For this demo, I'm making a size 9 ring, I think it was. Yeah, size 9 ring. It's a very easy size to go with, but I'll just pull this chart over here for a second. You can just Google ring charts. I mean, there's many different people. This is one of the ones that came up, Bling Jewelries. But here it kind of shows you what the inside diameter is, what the official sizes are in different countries. I'm pretty sure Germany goes by circumference, which is why these numbers seem a lot larger, but they have a little more control with older design stuff. But I thought that was kind of an interesting one to note. When I looked at it, it was like a size 3 in US, pretty tiny ring being 44. It's like, that has to be 44 millimeters circumference. But yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing some of those. But yeah, for 9, we just need to make it a 19.1. So we're going to be trying to make this fairly exact, but I'm still going to be eyeballing a bit of that, just because of how ZBrush is designed. But yeah, let's just take this, and I'm just going to do a uniform scale till I get close. But essentially, I need 8 on each side of these. Where's my deformation? There it is. Scale is on there somewhere, or size. So let's just jack this up a few times. So we're wanting 19.1. So I tend to think of that as just measuring from the center point, making sure, and this ring I've already made sure to center. If you need to use like the transform tools, move, scale, stuff like that to get into position, totally go for it. This video is kind of jumping into more the sizing specifically. But here with 19.1, we essentially need 9.5 point half or in half a millimeter. So from here, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to make that bigger, so 8 and close to 8.5. And then this is where it takes a little bit of fiddling. The big thing is make sure, your sizes are consistent all the way around. But from here, being able to see like half isn't that bad. Probably give that a little bit of a bump just because of, let's see, that'd be about half. That's about half. Let's just give that one more bump. And one of the reasons I'm going a little bit on the size of a little larger versus a little smaller, just kind of a general design thing. If it needs to fit and stuff, I can always refine that smaller, but if I can't get it onto them, I can't see how much I need to edit it. So, especially for test prints and things. But now that we have this, we can kind of see what that total diameter is as well. So we have our, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5. I am totally on the wrong one, so good thing I recount that. And that's something that's just kind of good practice. Uh, that measure twice, cut once philosophy, especially for 3D printing. It can save you a lot of headache. The next thing we do, same thing, just make sure visually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and almost a half, or I would say that's pretty close. And here's another trick I tend to do too, is if I can mouse directly in the center between those two, I can then change my brush size, which helps to kind of narrow down exactly where that is. So I can see that it's like, oh, I'm a little past half, narrow that down a little bit. Not quite centered. And if I did this right, I should be able to go to a little above half. Though my view screen is very large, so. But we can start to see that that would be right over half plus a little more, which is exactly what we're trying to really get for this. So 9.5, 9.5, that makes our total inside diameter 19 plus a little, which is supposed to be that 19.1. And then from here, just count again, but count the outside of the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and pretty close to, I don't know if I'd call that a 0.8. But we're skewing a little larger on this side, so I might actually go for a 0.7 or a 0.75, but same type of thing. This is where it does take a little bit of that artistic eye. Make sure you're understanding how things are actually scaling when you're printing, but this will give you a really good ballpark for this. Now that you have it size, you have some visual reference of how big it is. Now the easy part is just going through and exporting. So in Z plugins, there's a ZPrint exporter. One thing that you always have to do for some reason is update size ratios. Even if you've already done it, for some reason that number goes awry. I don't know if it just goes to a previous number or what the defaults are, but I'm just going to sanity check, make sure it's on millimeters, update size ratios, and that will give us what it currently thinks its size is, which is quite a bit larger than what we want. I'm going to sanity check my count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus, I guess that'd be like a 0.7. So 10.7 plus 10.7, I feel lazy, so I'm just going to do that on my handy dandy calculator app. So we have a 21.4. So from here, it's pretty easy to come here, 21.4. And now we have our overall size, and everything's there for the size 9 ring. The next step is pretty easy. You just hit the STL export, save your file. There aren't any options in there to worry about, and that should get your size set up for, as I said, Shapeways or home 3D printers. But yeah, this was something that just kind of came up in some of our classes. We really wanted to be able to show people how to size rings from the inside. A lot of the stuff, if you just go into Shapeways or something like that, you're always going to get the bounds measurements, which are the farthest extents. So this kind of shows you that with our farthest extents being 21.3, our inner diameter is 19.1, we kind of get an idea of that thickness. However, the other thing I'd be aware of just using that as a general scale and scaling your rings, is that when you get bigger and smaller, you'll also get thicker band of the ring itself. Like the ring itself will get thicker. So that number needs to be scaled as well. I've been looking into some tools to be able to help me with this and try to automate the process. But for right now, this has been one of the easiest ways we found for it. So I just wanted to share that, get it out there, and answer a few of the questions that came up. So yeah, thank you and have a good day. Peace.